All right. Excellent connection. Stream has begun. Nerd Alert episode 28.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
We
Max.
started this.
Want to kick us off?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. What's up, everybody? We are calling all nerds, and you answered the call, the beacon in the sky, if you will. We are your friendly neighborhood hosts that talk about everything within the entertainment zeitgeist, and we are so excited to talk about some amazing stuff tonight. I say amazing, but it's all kind of dreary news
Yeah.
all
That might not
around.
be that most
Uh,
accurate description.
Yeah, I was gonna say the video game industry is kind of in a tumultuous spot right now.
Yeah.
I'll just do a brief overview if that's okay with you,
Yeah,
Tyler.
yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
Cover what we're talking about. We have four main topics for everyone tonight. First and foremost is, of course, over the course of the last month, all these video game tariffs that are now coming into play from both a console and gaming perspective. AAA executive blockbuster games, is that era almost over? Nintendo will now no longer allow you to mod your system without bricking it, or they will have the
The,
ability to do so
the
if they so deem
threatening.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can threaten it. And then Sony's games as service just seems to be failing out every which direction you can think of, and we'll be talking about it from both just the craziness that is happening right now with Bungie and Fair Games as well, which were the next two big games of service games that Sony was planning to release this year. We will see if that remains to be seen. But yeah, those are our topics for the day. Anything you wanted to add, Tyler, before we jump into the first one?
I am actually tweeting out or discording out our podcast.
Ooh,
So while I do that, I say let's just dive right in. We
let's do it.
briefly talked about this is kind of nice, right? Like our this doesn't always happen with our podcast, but the last podcast we were talking about what could happen with tariffs, and now we get to talk a little bit about what did happen because of tariffs. So yeah, I say just
Yeah,
like dive right into that, and then we'll just kind of kick it off.
yeah. I'll definitely kick us off. So yeah, Tyler's exactly right. Last time we met, it was right after the switch to Direct occurred back in, I think it was April, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um, and there was excitement, but there was also kind of this like shadow kind of over the whole presentation because there was no price tag given at the time of the direct. There was a lot of information kind of hidden away, and then pretty much that same day, or it may have been the same day or the day after, I can't remember which. Uh, Nintendo came out with the price of the console, which was, not necessarily a bad price for what you were getting comparatively, but what really drove the conversation were the price of games. Um, with Nintendo basically stating that if you don't buy Mario Kart with the bundle, which is $50 with the bundle, which is a good price, but if you buy the game on its own, it is $80 for digital and $90 if you buy the physical edition. And really, all the physical edition is getting you is a key card, like a key passcode for the digital version of the game, and literally a box, which just seems like a huge slap in the face. I can't really see it as anything other than them trying to kill off the physical kind of versioning of games to get to a fully digital library. Um,
Yeah, so was
because
that confirmed as one of the games that you would just be getting a code of? I know there was like some mixed information on like which games would actually be like qualifying for this, like essentially you buy the the same Switch looking case, and then inside of it,
yeah,
yeah, is like a specific card that I guess like written on the case somewhere is just saying like, this is I forgot what it is. It looks like disclaimer text though, essentially on the case.
yeah.
Was Mario Kart one of them that was confirmed to be that?
I don't believe so. I think with
Hmm.
Mario Kart World, you are well, yeah. I think it's still kind of unknown, honestly. I
Uh,
think with Mario, I would be shocked if Mario Kart World didn't come with like a physical like card of the game itself, but it just seems like it's all. all over the place in terms of what games will come with just the key card, like the key passcode
Yeah.
versus the physical edition of the game.
Yeah,
And
I think that's also been like weird, right? Is like a lot of this news, like there's so much out there that you can read. Like I'm reading here that Nintendo Switch 2 doesn't actually run anything natively, and like some stuff might say that like all of the physicals aren't real physical. Some are saying it's to like it's just so weird, right? Like just like
yeah,
how up in the air so much of this is, but
with 2 weeks out from the release of
oh
this
yeah,
platform,
it
which
is
is
only
like,
2 weeks out. That's crazy.
yeah, there's just so much unknown. And I think a lot of that has to do with kind of the economic world that we live in right now. There's just a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of unknown around how these tariffs are going to affect things in the long run. I think the thing that was really shocking for me, right, was that the price tag and the price of the games I initially thought were due to upcoming tariffs because the tariffs were announced the same day. And I thought, oh, maybe Japan, Nintendo were aware that this was coming and they just decided to get in front of it and just say that, this is the price now just due to the tariffs. No, they were saying that that was not taken into account, that this is kind of the standard. And now they have to now think about, a few months down the line, do we raise the price of the Switch 2?
Yeah.
Do we raise the price of games further? Um, so it's just going to be a very interesting world in terms of the video game side. Like it was already kind of a premium kind of pastime, and now it's becoming even more so. Um, and like you said, the price tags are kind of all over the place. They're saying that Mario. It just seems like everyone is kind of pricing their game at what they think it's worth, which is totally fine to do, but there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for it. Like for Mario Kart World, the digital version is $80, but the DK game coming out a month later, which I'm really excited for, Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's only going to be $70, which is like, oh, okay, so that's $10 less. There's going to be, now that they're partnering with a bunch of third party um, publishers, they could release games on the Switch for like $50, $40, $60. It kind of just runs the gambit of prices that you can think of, which I don't think necessarily is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Um, but it is just interesting that now 80 is the new standard, and Microsoft has kind of jumped on that bandwagon, stating that all of their games moving forward, like all of their first party Xbox like not exclusive, but their Xbox first party games are going to be $80 at launch. Um, so I'm shocked that PlayStation has not come out since and announced that same deal of $80 for their first party games. I'm sure it's just a matter of time. Um, but I would not be shocked if within the next 2 to 3 months, PlayStation also comes out and says, hey,
Yeah.
any first party Sony Interactive Studio game that we release will now be $80 at launch, kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, and so I have a couple. So the Nintendo Switch around the key card thing, it looks like there will be like an image, like a banner image at the bottom of the cart of the case, and it'll have a little key, and it says "Game Key Card." And when you zoom in on what that reads, you can zoom on this image. It says the amount of gigabytes that the game is. Full game download via internet required. See back. Yeah, so you are buying a physical game that is requiring an internet connection to be able to download. So that's what that is. And then to give some more data on just kind of what Max was talking about with like the price increases. As he
Yeah.
said, the Switches themselves were not increased in price, but they did increase all the accessories pretty much. I think like $5 to $10. So the Switch
Yeah.
Pro Controller 2 now is $85. Joy-Cons are $95. The charging grip is 40. The straps are 14. The wheels are 25, which is insane to me. The camera
Yeah.
is now $55. The dock is 120. All-in-one carrying case, $85. AC adapters, $35. It's just kind of it's pretty high for like these accessories for sure. So
Yeah.
So those are like those increases. And then um for the Xbox side of things, as he was talking about, the Xbox Series X and S are also going to be going up. So the Series S is priced up to $350, where it was last at $300, and then the Series X I think is at $550, where it was at $500. Those both have faced a $50 price increase. Just kind of talking about what Max was just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the accessory stuff doesn't bother me yet all that much, only because I don't buy anything first party from Nintendo outside of a controller, and then afterwards, but even that, people even just like make really good aftermarket controllers in general.
They do.
And I mean, I know that those are also probably going to be like facing some price hikes, but like these prices for these accessories were already high, like just to
Oh,
begin with. And
absolutely.
so it's
They're
like, I'm glad that they didn't try to increase their switches, right? Like I'm glad that they didn't go from 450 to 500 and then from
mhm.
500 to like 550 for the bundled version. So that
Yeah.
part's at least nice. Um, I kind of feel like they wanted to and they just didn't because they knew that people were probably going to be freaking out. Because
Yeah.
here's a fun thing. After we didn't get to talk about this last podcast because that was like the day it happened. So
Right.
since then, Nintendo has had some of their little, what do they call them? Like playhouses or something like that?
Their treehouse,
Treehouse.
Nintendo
Yeah.
treehouse events. Yeah.
So during those events, you can just watch the wall of text that is live chat
Drop
of
the
everyone
price.
just saying drop the price. So Nintendo knew what they were doing. They weren't going to actually increase the price of that. They just increased the accessories to shut people up for a while until maybe like a year from now when they increase it. Who knows? But we'll see.
Yeah. Seriously.
Um,
And
yeah,
that's so true. There's just so much unknown as to like how this is going to work
yeah,
um,
yeah,
for it. But yeah, it's just a very interesting world right now, especially with you have to wonder if Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo are now re-strategizing with these tariffs coming into play, right? Of do we develop our systems in a different country? Because right now I know Nintendo does it
oh
through
yeah,
Vietnam,
yeah,
which Vietnam is, hit with a pretty high tariff. Um, and it kind of goes into those kind of conversations for these companies of like, how do we not lose money but still sell to like one of our biggest markets, which is the US? Or do we make a statement and not sell to the US? Like th- there's just a big kind of trade war going on right now, just with everything that's going on in politics. And unfortunately, for and this is very minor in the grand scheme of things when it comes to video games, but like politics just kind of affects the things that we know and love. And now it's
yeah,
like, oh, well, now it's hitting our pockets too, of,
yeah.
of what we want to buy. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think PlayStation will follow suit too, Tyler? I honestly am kind of shocked that they have not yet come out and said they're increasing prices for their consoles or their games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would assume they would have to, just because I know that like Sony is so exclusively Asia as far as like we have Microsoft here, right? Obviously they offshore production and stuff to like Asian countries, but like
Yeah,
there's almost could be something to be said of like, oh, maybe Microsoft would figure it out and make it do like US blah 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 blah. And then like to me, like it's like okay, Nintendo would want to increase stuff that makes sense. They're primarily a Japanese company. There's all that stuff going on, and it's like the same thing I would expect for Sony, just being primarily in like the Asia of like where like kind of like all things happen, right? Um, and just because it seems to me that Asia countries have like some of the highest tariffs from the US. So
yeah,
yeah, I am a little shocked, especially just because um like it already shocked me that Microsoft would increase their price. And I mean, I don't keep up with how many consoles are being sold each year, which I guess we can look. So if we did Xbox Series X sold year over year, see what it is. Because
I know it's
to
not
me, I'm like, it just seems kind of lame to sell. Like, how many more people are really buying it to make
especially
it
now that these
worth
are like
it?
4-year-old consoles that are now more expensive than they were even at launch. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like this, I don't know. This random headline is like Xbox sales hit rock bottom after a historic 2024 decline. So I'm like, I don't know, like it just seems odd. Like, how old are these consoles? Aren't most people who wanted them like kind of owning them at
already
this
on them.
point?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I don't know. So it just gets kind
I
of
think,
confusing. I don't really know much of the data behind it of like how much are actually being done. I
yeah.
mean, it says like Series X sales dropped to 2.7 million units during 2024, which is down from 3.8 in 2023. So, I mean, like if you're already only selling like a couple million every year, I don't know. It just like already seems like it's a diminishing cost. Like, why focus
Yeah,
on
diminishing
it
returns.
when you're,
I know.
I don't
It,
know. It just seems
yeah,
weird to me.
I agree. It seems like a bad move in my opinion. But another part of me also wonders if Xbox isn't already kind of moving away from like the console space in a sense because they are investing so much in being like you can play your Xbox games on your phone,
Yeah.
on your
But I mean, they want to
PC,
make a handheld, like they want to
right
get in the
on a
handheld
handheld.
space. So I don't know.
So yeah, there's part of me that wonders if hardware for Microsoft is becoming less and less of a priority, where it
Yeah,
would be
that I
for
do
like,
agree with. I'm pretty sure it is. I think that they definitely don't care about it as much. And
mhm,
maybe that could be why like Sony hasn't done anything because they do care more about their console. Whereas
yeah,
Xbox is like, hey, if we dip down to 2 million sales, at least we made $50 more per and it'll help
per
us out. Like,
game
I don't
pass,
know, so it's
yeah,
like maybe that's like what they care about. And I think too, and we'll obviously we're gonna get to this in our like fourth bullet point here towards the end of the podcast, but I kind of feel that
mhm,
like because of all the other stuff that Sony has going on, maybe that's like why they haven't done anything because they're a little like preoccupied by other
yeah,
chaos that's going on. And I
yeah,
also Sony's not one I feel like to just like blurt out that they're doing a change. Like there's whether it's like they're hosting like an actual like press conference to talk about new games or if they're hosting conferences to do I don't know. I feel like they're more about they're not just gonna like make a statement. I don't know. I feel like
yeah.
there would be more
There,
to it than just talking about price increases.
yeah, I would agree with you there. I feel like Sony specifically is very private in terms of what's going on internally,
Yeah.
unless like a big like news article or like an inside, story gets leaked out and then is posted, right?
Yeah.
Um, Whereas like Phil Spencer and Xbox are very open to the community, PlayStation is very much not.
Yeah.
They're very much they keep their cards to the chest. So yeah, I would agree with you there. I wonder if PlayStation very much is not in the same league as Microsoft when it comes to their cloud capability and like ability to play on like different platforms. Like they're very heavily invested in their IP and their hardware, very much like Nintendo. um, and so I could totally see them still trying to figure out, do we go this same route with the PS5 and PS5 Pro, or do we try to make that money up in a different way? Do we raise the price of PS Plus every year? Like that could be a way that they go about it. um I kind of feel like in some ways it's an inevitability, but it's just a matter of how they present it.
Now
But
there
yeah.
is on on April 13th of 2025, there was a PlayStation blog post saying PS5 prices to rise in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, which is
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
but it's
Wow.
only for the digital. So the in Europe, it's going at 500 euro. I don't know what it was before. It doesn't really say.
Wow.
And then
Probably 400.
429 pounds in the UK, 829 in Australia, which I think Australia dollars are always kind of crazy. Same with like New Zealand, it's like 949. This blog post kind of blows because it doesn't show what it was. I'm assuming, obviously, if you are from this region, you know what all this means. But this is really
Yeah.
all to say that there has been some, but it's
Some,
interesting because
right?
this isn't about US. This is just them increasing
The UK.
prices. Yeah, Europe, UK, Australia, New Zealand. So I'm kind of
Interesting.
surprised that there's nothing I see regarding like the US. So that's kind of weird. Um
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they're increasing their PlayStation Plus stuff in certain reasons, but not the US. Yeah, this is really weird. The only thing
Oh,
I can guess, and a lot of these posts are from April, the only thing I can guess is that they just don't know what to do yet. So maybe they
yeah.
had already planned to increase prices, or maybe they're trying to help lessen some blow where it's like instead of just increasing the US, they're just going to increase them all a little bit everywhere. Um
Yeah.
and maybe that's even a strategy, right? Like what if instead of you just focusing on increasing it just in the US, maybe you increase a little here and there to like spread out the price increase to maybe
So
help
like
the
some of the smaller
consumers,
regions.
but like your profits can still go up. I don't know. I don't really know how
Yeah.
all that finance stuff works, but yeah, it's just interesting. So at least from what I see, a lot of these news articles are not talking about US increases yet. So maybe Sony's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. That's my only thought too, is like I'm sure it's just a matter of how they plan to go about it. But
Yeah.
either way, we're just in a brand new world in terms of how it comes to video games. And this kind of leads into, our second topic of AAA gaming. But like, I feel like, and I've been reading a lot of articles, watching a lot of videos about just the video game space in general and how it's become kind of like a mature market. Because video games right now are not making a huge amount of money for investors outside of like really big, like Fortnite's, Roblox, like the free
Yeah,
to
yeah.
play, like
The games
Titans,
of services, right?
games of services, exactly. And and it makes me wonder if the exclusivity kind of first person AAA thematic cinematic video game style is slowly going away. Because honestly, and I've noticed this with just the PS5 era, even, right? I would say since The Last of Us was released at the end of the PS3 era, PlayStation's bread and butter was these triple A, high fidelity, well written, basically movie video games, or like God of War, Ghosts of Tsushima, um, Death Stranding, Returnal. Um, these were the big games that were like, this is the reason why you want a PlayStation. Spider-Man, right? Like it's like those were their IP was unmatched. Um, and the games sold well, but with the rise of production costs that we keep seeing and reading about every single day of like how much money it's costing to make these games. Like I forget what the full amount was for them to create Spider-Man 2 over at Insomniac, but I think it was like some crazy, like hundreds of millions of dollars to create Spider-Man 2. And I think like I forget what like the number of sales they would need to get to even break even, but like I'm feeling like, and this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like the triple A era of gaming is slowly going away, especially just seeing over the last few years. I feel like PS5 versus PS4 in terms of first party exclusives, it's kind of night and day. You
Um,
know, like yes, we get maybe one a year, but like I just look back at the PS4 where in the PS4 era, like I was eating well. Like I was getting like three bangers every year from like first party studios. Like you're getting God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, and Spider-Man, like back to back to back, and you're like, man, like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas with PS5, it's very much more spread out. It's because these games are taking longer to make. They're taking years upon years upon years. They cost so much, and it's just getting to a point where it just doesn't seem like the cost is able to be remediated in terms of sales. And
Yeah.
I, I I'm seeing a kind of a pattern specifically this year of like the highest critically acclaimed games and the ones that are making the most money and selling the most are these games that are in the not in the AAA space, but in the AA space or in the indie space. Because you have games like Blueprints, Split Fiction, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Like those are the big titles that you're hearing about this year. And all of them are either new games from new studios or from existing studios, but are, not a big budget kind of scenario. But they're resonating with audiences because one, they're being sold for in my opinion, a very reasonable price. And two, like they're just well made, well performing games. And it just seems like the narrative of the video game industry is shifting where it's all about the performance, it's all about the gameplay, it's all about, you know, what you're offering and at a reasonable price that's going to win out. It seems
Yeah.
like to me to like the general audience. Whereas like it just makes me wonder if like Naughty Dog or Insomniac are looking at this stuff and being like, oh God, what are we gonna do? It's like
Yeah.
we just keep trying to make these blockbuster games and they sell well, but like they don't sell enough to like, reduce costs. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like trying to, like pulling up just like numbers of things, right? And this is like interesting. Like, so a few points here, right? So when you just look at total sales done on products, um,
Mhm.
there's like a really cool wiki page of list of best selling games. And now the reason why these are so high is because like they can keep on selling, like they're like timeless, so to speak, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously number one is Minecraft. Been out also it's been out since 2011. So this game is like
Yeah.
getting up there in age. But I
Over a
mean,
decade old. Yeah.
350 million copies sold in this game.
Insane.
350 million, right? And then at the bottom of this list is We Play at 28 million. And now obviously this game's from 2006, but like, and, no one's like really buying it now. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
like it caps out at 28 million. But like still, like I'm looking at this list, and if I actually sort it from most recent like release date, the
Mhm.
only one there that has made this list is Black Myth Wukong. 30 million sales. This game came out
Oh yeah.
August of like last year. But they weren't AAA, right? They were like a random like Chinese
Chinese
company,
company.
right? And
Very
they made
first
this
game too.
list.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy actually sold 34 million copies.
Mhm.
Avalanche Software, this was from 2023. Um,
Yeah.
Elden Ring, I guess you consider From Software now AAA?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
So they're on here, right? There's a AAA, 30 million
Yeah.
copies, 2022. But then it's like Call of Duty. I get that their Call of Duty is a AAA. It's one of those things that I can't say I consider them one just because their stuff is so rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
But like these are like who I'm seeing on here though, right? You got the Call of Duties, you got Animal Crossing, more Call of Duty, Super Smash. Red Dead is on this list. Sadly, Red Dead 2 is not, but Red Dead is on this list
Yeah.
of 74 million copies. That was 2018. It was so long
Yeah.
ago. Like we're not hitting these kind. This is all to say, like we're not hitting these kind of numbers anymore. Like
No.
2020, we hit 30 million of something to be sold, and that's been like it. Before that, it was 2019 of actually another Call of Duty to sell for 40 million copies. I mean, really, we're not seeing these super high numbers from anything recent. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at like Minecraft was 2011, GTA 5 2013. Wii Sports sold 82 million copies back in '06, right?
Probably
Mario
because it was
Kart
bundled
8
with
from
Wii.
2014. 76 million. Pokemon Red and Blue from 96 sold 76 million. It's just like, yeah, we're not hitting these numbers like we were. And now I know
Yeah.
that these are like super crazy, outrageous games.
Yeah.
But even just like Last of Us Part 2, it sold over 10 million copies like worldwide, which is
Right.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
but like still, it's like 10 million. Okay. Well, Split Fiction has sold 4 million already, and it came out this year. And if I had to guess, I mean, they say obviously like Split Fiction was almost double of It Takes Two, but I can't imagine that this budget was anywhere near what
Yeah.
Last of Us
What
2
like
was, right?
no,
So I just is like I
absolutely
feel
not.
like Split Fiction's 4 million units sold equates to just so much more than Last of Us 2's 10
Substantial
million.
return.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
and so it's just like you just like look at these numbers. I mean, I tell you all the time. I always talk about Stardew Valley. It's just like it doesn't take much for like people to like love a game, right? Like Stardew Valley's on this list at 41 million copies sold. And it was just a
Yeah.
guy who really liked the idea of making a game. Or like, let's see, Dave the Diver units sold. That was another like huge one that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So Dave the Diver sold 10 million or sorry, 1 million in 10 days. And it has
Yeah.
now sold over 5 million as of November of last year. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like what are we
Yeah.
what's the key here? It just seems that one, it's already rare enough to be hitting that like 30 million plus copies sold.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
already
for
like a
sure.
rare thing to do that. But now we're seeing like the fact that these, I want to even just like indie companies can just come out of nowhere and like make a title that, I mean, the fact that Dave the Diver is at half the amount of copies sold as Last of Us Part 2, that's got to be like an eye opener, right? Like
Oh,
it's just
absolutely.
interesting. And I know we talked about it a little bit like on text where you were just like, you were kind of saying like you love a good game that's got like a good budget because you enjoy um typically that has historically come with the fact that there's probably like good voice acting, good just like
Writing.
CGI, like it probably has like actual what's that called when you like scan people in their motion and stuff.
Mocap. Yeah,
So
mocap.
it's like there's probably like that into it, which is like all like super cool. But I think like for me on the reverse end, like I just want like the gameplay to be fun. I like to have like a cool little loop. Like story is like give or take to me. I just want it to be like really fun. And like
Yeah.
that doesn't always mean that it needs to have real motion capture, or like I mean sure voice acting is always nice. Like I do want to have like some good voice actor and stuff like that, but I don't know,
Yeah.
sometimes it almost feels like these games are like trying to become like real life like movies. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's hard to explain. It it's like everybody is trying to become like Avengers Endgame. Everyone wants to just like make
Yeah.
Endgame as like a video game and want everybody to like bless you
Excuse me.
fall in love with it like that and just like
Mhm.
no, it just seems like that's what everybody's like trying to chase is that kind of a vibe when it comes to like the AAA style. Like people just want
Yeah.
like that kind of a thing. And I'm like, I don't know. That just doesn't always seem like that's where you need to go. But
Yeah, it kind of goes back to because to your point, right? I love those style of games. I would say some of my favorite games are that style, but I always drive more towards the writing, the story, the voice acting than anything else. But um, I think part of the reason we're seeing AAA kind of die out a little bit too is because the up and coming generation of gamers they're playing Fortnite, they're
yeah,
playing Roblox,
yeah,
they're playing free to play. Like why should I spend $80 on a game when I can just play Fortnite anytime I want?
yeah,
Like I think that these companies, um, like Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Guerrilla Games, whatever, they're losing audiences to these free to play titan like juggernauts that they can't hope to ever, you know, pull people's attention from unless they build something special.
Yeah, and that's the
Um,
problem too, right? Attention span. Like,
oh my
I'll be
gosh, yeah.
honest, we're doomed, bro. It just seems like we're doomed. Just like watching,
I
and
know.
even myself, like sometimes I get in them YouTube shorts and I'm just like scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. But every now and then, bro, like I'll just like see like younger generations out there, just these like like I hate using the term, but I'll be seeing some iPad kids out there and they're like
Mhm.
doom scrolling. And I'm like, bro, you're like 5 and like 6
Yeah,
and you're already doom scrolling. And like watching like the type of like weird, crazy AI videos that they're watching, and like it's just like attention spans are just
shot.
totally, totally shot. And like
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, no wonder that we're losing people to Fortnite. You drop into Fortnite and like maybe you die in 5 seconds. You get the dopamine of like dropping in, going crazy. Oh my gosh, let's go back in. And it's like, if you're playing like 60 games that all lasted like 20 seconds, but you're just getting this like dopamine hit every time you're like dropping in, flossing in the pregame lobby, throwing emotes and stuff. Like
yeah,
that like high intensity, that's like what's pulling you in. And also like, fun colors and all that kind of BS and that's involved into it. But it's like, yeah, try to get a kid who grew up on Fortnite to play Last of Us Part One. It's just like not
right,
gonna happen. They're gonna be like, this is
right.
boring. This sucks.
This is boring. This is taking too long
Where's the
to
skins? Where's the like
right, which breaks my heart a little bit because, like, I love those games for their stories, for, like,
yeah,
them trying to expand on the genre.
yeah,
But I totally get that they're not for everyone, to your point. Like, you know, but yeah, it's just interesting. Like, I'm very interested to see what happens to the AAA space because
yeah,
and, like, I think that part of another thing that's, like, really enticing to me and really exciting for me though is that like you said we are seeing all of these newcomers, these new studios, i these new IPs that are coming out and capturing people's attention because they are different.
yeah,
I Expedition 33 is the next game I'm planning to buy because I really want to play it. Like, I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I think that one thing I read that really got my attention, um I'm trying to remember where I read it. But basically it said like Expedition 33 is what Final Fantasy has been chasing for years.
mm,
Like, just trying to be relevant in terms of turn-based RPG style again.
yeah,
And the reason for that is a lot of people are saying Expedition 33 is like the French version of Final Fantasy X meets Dark Souls
interesting.
because the combat, even though it's turn-based, has like a parry and dodge system,
Yeah,
and the enemies, the way that they fight with you, it's very challenging. You have to be very cautious and watchful of how they attack and when they plan to hit. Because if you get hit, you're like dead.
yeah,
Like, you
that's
get
it.
decimated. And I just find it so fascinating how like this company just figured out this way to kind of bring Souls like kind of traits into like a turn based RPG and make
Yeah,
it work
yeah,
and make it successful. And I look at Expedition 33 and see how successful it's been, both from a critical and audience perspective. And I can already tell, like, this game is going to inspire and form turn-based RPGs for years from now. Like,
yeah,
I would not be surprised whatsoever if studios and Japanese RPG studios that I followed making a game with the combat be just like this, or kind of an offshoot of it, just like how Persona did before it, where
yeah,
Persona, its turn-based style kind of, you know, um, inspired JRPGs after it as well.
yeah,
So I will say it's cool to see the evolution of gaming continue to thrive in that way. It's kind of having to survive by changing it up. I feel like fidelity is no longer the goal. Like, I feel like for 10 years it was make this
yeah,
game as pretty and as clean and close to live action as possible.
yeah,
I feel like we've already hit the peak of that mountain, and now the conversation has shifted to, okay, but what about the performance? Why isn't this 60 frames?
Yeah.
You know, like how do we get it to be at 240 hertz? You know, like or like that's what people want now. They want the convenience and they want the performance.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that though, because I kind of hope we stop chasing fidelity and stop chasing graphics and just be like, we've already reached it.
Yeah.
Like let's just focus on making this game as efficient and performance based as possible.
Yeah, the only thing that's like the biggest like thing that's against that grain, right, is it's like the video that Alana Pierce made talking about just the gaming industry and like where it's at and like it was that one that you shared about how like the gaming industry now has just it is now a developed industry and you got the suits
Mhm.
who are the ones that like they're not looking at us as us being consumers of video games like video gamers. We're not the
Yeah,
profits, it's the shareholders, it's the stakeholders, it's the investors. And like
yeah,
now the gaming industry is like an investment industry and like the AAA title or the AAA companies are still going to be the ones that drive it, meaning the gaming industry, as a like massive now entity. And it's like, yeah, I agree. I do want games to follow that suit and get back to the roots. It's just kind of a shame that like that's not going to make a huge difference in like the gaming industry as like a whole. It doesn't help
mhm,
us as like end users and consumers. I just don't
yeah.
know if that's going to help us with the like studios like Sony or like Xbox or like Nintendo or like you know what I mean. Like there's just
For sure.
because they have to appeal to their shareholders and their stakeholders and like I don't know like there's just such a huge disconnect, right? Like I shared with you that screenshot of good old Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, who
They'll make it happen. They want the
someone
game.
someone tweeted at him saying, "Randy, this game better not be $80." Talking about Borderlands 4. Don't
Yeah.
take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. Good old
Mhm.
Randy replied, saying, A, not my call, and B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for the Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. So Randy thinks that, hey, don't be poor and just buy my video game. And if that is where a CEO of a AAA studio as a mindset is at, right?
Yeah,
It's just like, I don't know. And I mean, he also
yeah.
talked about too, like budget for Borderlands 4 is like potentially double Borderlands
Double
3,
Borderlands for
which
3.
means that budget's like 300 million potentially. And you're like,
Mm,
what are you
yeah,
producing with $300 million on Borderlands 4?
right.
Like realistically, what are you doing? You guys are more than likely copying, pasting the same concept that's
Aspect,
always existed
right?
since Borderlands 1, which is just there's a programming thing to create an infinite amount of guns that all have different stats to it. You kill
Mhm.
monsters that are kind of goofy and kind of funny. There's a bunch of like blood and gore, and you just pick up like ground loot.
The gun
I mean, like, really, what are you really changing for $300 million? So,
for a looter shooter.
loot, yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
exactly. So I think that's the unfortunate thing that's going against the grain of what you had kind of summarized of wanting games to get back to this just kind of more enjoyable experience and not necessarily about the fidelity. And it's like, I don't know, whatever's going to
Yeah,
make these people not lose their shareholders, it's what's going to matter.
it's
And
what's gonna drive. Yeah,
yeah,
or at least until shareholders well, and I think that's why and I'm kinda talking out of my butt here, but, like, studios that don't have shareholders or are, or, like, don't have, like,
yeah, yeah,
large
yeah,
investors that, like, are funding their projects and stuff like
yeah.
that. They kinda have more of that freedom of creativity.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
Um, and I think that's why we're seeing more of those like victories and like kind
agreed,
of like of those
agreed.
games.
And
But
it's almost it's almost like we can't even categorize them in the gaming space in a way. Like
Yeah,
it's almost like
because you
we
have no
can't
idea.
compare anything that's non AAA as if they're in the same realm almost. Because
Yeah,
it's just like the impact that they have on gaming as an industry is very minimal, but the impact they have on us as consumers is huge. So yeah,
right.
it's almost as if you have to just like accept that that's gaming 2.0 or something, and like gaming 1.0 is Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, and whoever like the big guys are, and like
Right.
now we're in a new era where like it's all about the non triple A's and let the other people keep fueling the gaming industry so that we never just stop getting video games. But let's look
Yeah.
forward to like Larian Studios, or let's look forward to like Avalanche to do some things, or who did Dave the Diver, like whatever it might be. Like maybe it's just
G-
time for us to focus
GTA.
on them.
I don't even want to know how much money GTA 6 costs to make.
Man,
I
the
like
the memes that
now.
have come out about that are just absolutely hilarious.
Don't get me wrong. I can't wait to play GTA 6.
That thing's
I'm not
that
even.
thing's gotta be 100 plus, right? I mean, there's no
Oh,
shot.
easy. It was already in my mind going to be $100 with these tariffs. I would not be shocked if it was like 120 or something like
Oh
that.
man.
But the
If
thing
you're
is, like,
listening to this and you haven't watched Video Game Donkey's video on the price of GTA 6, you gotta watch that video. It is
look at
absolutely hilarious.
look at the Coke in the Coke bottle move around as he walks. This game is a $250. I was like, but I mean, like, that's an example of like that's going to be a game that I have no doubt will make its money back and more because it's
Yeah.
Rockstar, it's
Oh
GTA.
yeah.
And so, like, those are the games, like you said, that are going to help fuel the industry.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
yeah,
is a
yeah.
console selling game. People will
Yeah.
buy consoles for that game.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, and like, if it's, and for me, sorry, because I know we're running short on time, so I want to make sure we get to point three, but wanted to mention this as well. I was never a fan of GTA growing up. I found the games to be super ultra violent, and like I wasn't just like a big fan of it. I liked Red Dead because I'm a sucker for westerns, and it seemed like it
Yeah.
had more of like a normal moral compass to it.
Yeah, it does.
um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's way different than GTA's are.
but I will say, from the trailers and the story trailers specifically of GTA 6, it's got me intrigued, and like
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested to play it because I'm like it. Honestly, it looks like kind of sort of the same engine as Red Dead 2 was on, much more refined, much better looking. But if your storytelling is on par or better than you did for RDR2, then this game's going to be huge for me. Like this
Yeah.
game's going to be awesome, and
Yeah.
you have main characters that seem like people I could root for, even though
Yeah.
they're obviously not the best of people. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's like this looks like a world I'm interested to play in, and I'm like, okay, like I can't wait for Grand Theft Auto 6, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be I just it's gonna be very interesting to see how much it's officially going to cost come May,
Yeah.
and uh, yeah, how much it's gonna sell.
Which I guess for the
It's great.
audience, last time we talked, it has now been increased to or delayed to May
26
2026. So
of
another
2026,
year. Another year for GTA 6.
and all the other studios let out a sigh of relief that they could still release their games this year.
I know, for real. Yeah, ain't
'Cause
nobody buying your game. If unfortunately release your game the same month as GTA 6, that's
it's
it.
not.
You gotta just
Oh yeah,
change it. You gotta just make
everyone's
it a new month.
getting out of the way. Yeah,
Yeah.
May and June are nothing's coming out in May and June
Yeah, no
except for
way.
6.
No way.
Except for Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't care. They're just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
they're
well,
unique enough to not have to care.
oh yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of Nintendo, that was actually a really good transfer. So kind of going back to this whole console release thing, just another, and I bought the console. I'm not saying I regret it. I'm actually really excited for it. But like Nintendo just keeps doing things with the Nintendo Switch 2 where I'm just like, why are you the way you are? With like the
Yep.
Steve Carell, Toby meme of just like, why are you doing this? And now Nintendo has officially stated within their user agreement setups for like Nintendo Online and everything like that, that if you mod the system, if you do anything that would break the warranty of the system itself, Nintendo now has the authority to basically cut off access to your entire Nintendo library and digital account, basically bricking your system if you attempt to mod it. Which means that essentially I bought a $500 brick and really paid for the license to be able to play Nintendo games, which just feels weird. It's
It
just like
feels so weird.
we are just like, I know this is a very like small story, but I just want to mention like how weird it kind of reminds me of Steam. I don't get me wrong, I love Steam. I love being able to kind of play whatever game I want to play at any
Yeah.
time. But there's always that thing in the back of my mind that like if Steam just like went under and like disappeared off the face of the earth, I would have no access to all these games that I paid money for anymore because I
Yeah.
literally just buy the license. Any digital buying that you do for games is
Oh, that's
all.
why you try to do GOG first. If the game is on GOG, get it there. If not, do
True.
Steam. 'Cause GOG
Yeah,
does do DRM free. It's just not every game goes on there. But yeah.
right. Probably because of that, but like that is true. GOG does make sure that like you own the game. You
Yeah.
literally own the download
Yeah.
of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's just
it's
weird,
interesting
man.
that physical hardware is now getting into this space because, like, I mean, I bet there's something, on my iPhone that probably says in the terms of service the same, like BS,
Oh, for
and
sure.
like I probably
Yeah,
don't own my phone. I probably barely own the computer that I'm on right now, but like,
we don't own
it's
anything
almost
anymore.
like in the digital space, I can understand this type of not owning thing a little bit more. And maybe it's just because I've been in digitally buying games since like the Xbox One era and stuff.
Sure. Longer than I
W-
have, yeah.
Whereas just like the idea that you could just physically brick my console because I modded it, like a physical thing that I'm owning. And it's so weird because like in the past, like let's take the Xbox 360. A big thing people would do with like modded Xbox 360, they're making like Modern Warfare 2 like modded lobbies and selling
Yep.
cheats, or like maybe they're selling modded, whatever it could be. And Xbox was just like, okay, you're modding our console, so we're now blocking that console from being able to like go online anymore. You still use it
Right.
locally. You use your
Play
cheats
your
and your
game.
mods locally. We don't care. You can still buy our video games and play them. Doesn't matter to us. You made that sale. There you go. But
Yeah.
like, and now, and it was probably also because of the time frame of that, of like they were more making money based off of sales of games versus the games of service now. But like
Right.
for Nintendo to just say like, hey, you own that thing, you're modding it, so you're probably pirating or you're probably doing blah 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 blah. But we don't like you. You can't use your entire console. Like, what does it matter if somebody is home locally? Let's even just say pirating a video game. Like that's
Right.
on them at that point. What can you do? You can tell them that it's wrong. Everybody knows pirating's wrong, but like you're just gonna like break a system because somebody's modding it. Like it just seems like it's out of your control. It's something that is out of your control that is like you don't need to make it in your control. I mean, you can
Yeah.
try to put things into your consoles to like make them unmoddable, but like I don't know, like why go to the extreme of being able to turn people's consoles off? I just don't understand that like mindset. It just seems kind of just like it just puts a bad taste because of now what you are defining physical consoles to be, which is not owned by the said person who paid full retail price for it.
Yeah, and I think that the term you just used is the perfect kind of metaphor for how I feel about this whole release is like just a bad taste in my mouth where it's like I'm excited to play my Switch 2. I'm excited to play
Yeah.
Mario Kart with my kids.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play Donkey Kong. But Nintendo has kind of entered this phase that I feel like with Disney right now where it's just like feels kind of icky. Like it's just
Yeah.
like it seems very just power greed charged, and I don't love it. Nintendo was always supposed to be the even Nintendo stated this years and years ago, back when I was a kid. They were the family friendly company. Like we
Yeah.
want to make a console that is affordable for the masses.
We want you to play.
Yeah, play video games. And it's like, yeah, it just seems like the people on high that are in charge are making some very very interesting choices. And kind of speaking of just ick factor, it kind
Yeah.
of brings up what's happening on Sony's side too, because they are also not in the greatest of spaces right now when it comes to their free to play games. So, just for some backstory for the audience, a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, Sony decided to shift kind of their priorities. This was something I was not a big fan of, and have kind of seen the fruits of it not pan out well. Sony has always thrived off their IP and their first party studios and the games that they've made that have sold really well. They decided they wanted to shift and create a huge um, free to play library, kind of chasing trends like Fortnite, Apex, um, all these shooters, or not even shooters, but just free to play games that are making money hand over fist in an already very overwhelming kind of ecosystem where it's like there are just too many games that not all of these games can survive. There's only a limited amount of pool and a limited amount of time. Um, and over the course of the last few years, all these games outside of Helldivers um, have kind of fallen on their face. Concord was a huge miss. It cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. They literally, I've never expected this to happen. It literally got taken off of the PlayStation Store. It is not buyable anymore. You cannot buy this game um, after like 28 days on the market or something like that. And like it was a huge miss. Um, Before that, Naughty Dog was forced to work on a multiplayer Last of Us game that eventually Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog were like, we're not going to do it. This has wasted already like 3 years of our time. Like it's not, we don't have the bandwidth or the manpower to, because it takes a lot to kind of keep a free to play game continually going. Like that is a studio in and of itself, like needing of employees. And they were like, we're not going to do it. Well, now you have Bungie's free to play game Marathon, which just a few weeks ago kind of came out with their first, I guess you could say, teaser or trailer of their
Yeah.
gameplay
There's a
and look
gameplay
of the game.
trailer. Yeah.
And overall, I don't play free to play games that much. I saw it and I was just like, well, that doesn't appeal to me whatsoever. Like that just is kind of like meh. Like I don't really care.
Yeah. It looked like
But
just a regular hero shooter. Nothing too special.
like I mean, and the accents and the art and everything, it was just very stylized. I liked the style. Like it was like, this is kind of cool. I just don't care for what this game is. And I think it was last week, late last week,
Yeah.
I forget the name of the artist, but she can't, Fern, I think it is.
Yeah.
um,
Have her. Oh, I don't know. Her Twitter name is really confusing to me. Yeah,
okay.
Fern.
Fern.
Her at name was weird, but yes, it is Fern.
Fern. Yeah, she came out and basically put Bungie on blast and be like, these are my assets, and basically showed proof that the assets within Marathon are one to one with her art that she has worked on for years. And so Bungie has now been outed and has been proven to have used, I don't know if plagiarism is the right word. I'm trying to think of what the right word is, but they basically stole her assets.
Yeah.
And her assets are all over this game.
Yeah.
Like this game is completely coded by her art. And it's just, this is a massive hit to Bungie in terms of can they even release this game now? Are they going to have to completely rehaul how it looks, how it runs? Like it could take years. Like you never know. But all due to one, apparently, according to resources, one employee that kind of went rogue and decided to just take her assets and utilize them in the game, who's no longer with the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. Yeah, she said that. So the tweet was on May 15th. Says
Yeah.
Marathon Alpha released recently, and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs that I made in 2017. And then Fern goes ahead and like shows all these like different assets that were in the game, and then says another like follow-up tweet saying Bungie is, of course, not obligated to hire me making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I have refined for the last decade, but clearly my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all of the games without paying me attribution. And so another thing that was brought up was that the said person who did take these assets had also been following Fern for like had been like a follower of this account since I think like over the last like 7-8 years. Like it's been a follower of this account for a long time. And it's just like those are like all those little like breadcrumbs of like, did they not think that they would notice? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just are gonna steal assets and not think that a person whom you follow is going to like notice that you did that. Like it's just it's such an inconceivable thing to wrap your mind around because it just seems so outlandishly
Stupid.
or no, yeah, like it's such an obviously terrible idea. And I'll even say like I don't know, you got AI now, right? Why don't you just like ask AI to make some assets?
Right.
You know, like you could have
If you don't want to do the work, like
yeah, if you're trying to go through like the easy route, just have something else figure out. Like, I don't know. It's just to me, I'm like, really? In our day and age now, you're stealing art to put it's just so and it's like
It's so
obviously it's such a shame too, because it's like Bungie of all people to have this like happen.
and this is a big mark. Like this is not something any
Yeah.
studio wants to be
Yeah.
hit with. Like this is a huge blemish on
Yeah,
their
and I mean, like Marathon already looked kind of stupid. It was already just like another extraction shooter that had some like hero abilities, and it was trying to be Tarkov plus like Marvel Rivals put together. Like so many people were already just like, this doesn't
comparing
look
it.
enjoyable. Like this doesn't look like it's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it probably wasn't going to be. And I can't imagine this is going to make it do like any better. I mean, like, like Concord, for example, right? Like Max talked about how Concord, it released on August 23rd and it was completely shut down on September 6th. It was just delisted. They failed to exceed 700 simultaneously players on Steam. They couldn't even go past 700. That is so crazy. And like this game Marathon, I could see doing the same type of numbers just because like people were already like been there, done that, seen that. Like the gameplay trailer that was like released, it was like even like the narrator of it would talk about like what was going on in the game. And you're like, yes, that's an extraction shooter. But like they wouldn't say the word extraction, right? They would just like they would like beat around the bush to make sure that it didn't sound like it was one. But everyone was like, you're not hiding.
Digitalized world.
Yeah, you're like, you're not hiding what you are. And I don't know if this thing just plummets. I mean, to be honest, I kind of hope it does.
Well,
I hope it does.
I even kind of question if it is even going to be released. Like
yeah,
I
could be.
I don't know because now Fern, I would assume in damages is going to probably make a good pretty penny for the
depends. So that is another thing on her Twitter that she has talked about. So there's been a few things that people have said. So she said, I don't have the resources nor the energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I have lost
Oh,
count of the number of times major companies have deemed it easy to pay a designer to imitate or steal my work other than me write an email. In the 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designers from huge companies moonboarding and parasiting my designs while I struggle to make a living. So some people, there's one guy that I follow, Co Carnage. He's a Twitch streamer and on YouTube and stuff. He has a really nice like wrap up video, and his opinion is what I agree with. So he thinks that one, Fern should do a GoFundMe, and with that GoFundMe, us as lovers of
the art.
games and just appreciation of the arts, like we should donate to that to help her fuel a fund so she could pursue legal action.
Yeah.
That could be one thing to do. Another thing could be that they do just hire her and they say like, "Hey, we're sorry, we really do like your work. Let's make you a VP of design of Marathon here at Bungie and like a VP of design moving forward for other games." Right? That could be a thing. But
Right.
his point that he made that I agree with is that at the end of the day, whatever it is that she is wanting is what the community needs to make sure they back. And like,
Mhm.
if she is sticking behind, hey, I don't have the energy, I don't have the time, I don't want to get in on doing this type of like legal action, it's like, okay, we stand behind that.
Yeah.
'Cause I can imagine that would suck. I want to have to like deal with like court and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it is a shame that like it's a shame that there has to be that much energy and time and money to be able to
Mhm.
get what it is that she deserves.
For justice.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
For
yeah, it sucks that like that is what it would take for
Mhm.
her to, from a monetary perspective, get
Yeah.
what she
Pursue
rightfully
damages.
should have because they stole it. It's just so, man, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
sad. It's
It
like
is.
what a way to kind of put her in a pickle. I mean, one positive thing, I don't know what her, follower count was prior to this incident, but I mean, is that 45,000 now? Like maybe this has grown over, the last like few
Before
weeks.
the
I would
event.
assume like she's probably gained
Oh,
some
yeah.
following. And so like that's really nice. Like hopefully that's gonna like help her out in the long run and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just kind of a shame that this
It
is
is.
what's happening, especially given like Bungie's history of like what they used to produce, and it's like I grew up on Bungie games, like
Yeah,
that was
Bungie's
like
kind of
where
a shadow of what it used to be.
I
Like
mean
it
so
yeah.
much so right
Yeah.
like I remember what it was like to um
Halo.
Halo and just like going to like my friend's house and playing
Oh
like
god.
Halo 1 and like
Core
Halo
memories.
2 and like
Like
doing that whole thing and like
ramming
playing
the Warthog against the Ghost.
I
Like it's like
know. Yeah,
the
like
stuff
all those memories and like that was Bungie and now we're
at their craft.
stealing assets and just making games that like already exist because
No.
we've ran out of ideas. It's just
Yeah.
so wild to me. It just
It
don't make any
yeah.
sense.
And kind of going back to the thought, right, of like, will this game ever come out? If it does come out, it now at least is going to cost them even more millions of dollars to completely change
Yeah.
the assets within the game,
Yeah.
costing more money for Sony. And I just kind of see this as another nail in the coffin that is Bungie, and it's just like,
Yeah.
dang, this is tough. But
Didn't see it
I
coming.
think no, I did not either.
Didn't
I
see it
mean,
coming.
I would have assumed that if any of these free to play games that Sony was going to come out with had any hope of success, I would have thought it would have been Bungie's game. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they know gameplay. They know their first person shooter gameplay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's crazy. And kind of going off of that, right? Is and just really quick, but like Fair Games, which is the other of the
Oh yeah.
free to
Yeah.
play games that was supposed to come out from Sony this year. The head, like literally the studio founder, of the company that made Fair Games left the company, and there's like no idea of like who's running right now, how far that game is along, if it's going to be successful. It's just such a mess. Like Sony's free to play kind of, I guess, roadmap that they were trying to do to bring in loads and loads of money has just completely failed. And it really kind of makes me hope that like Sony and PlayStation as a whole just kind of come back together and be like, okay, you know what? We're abandoning free to play. We don't want to try to compete. We're going to stick with Helldivers, which they should have just tried to make one good one. Just shoot for one good one. That's all you need, just one. You just need something that could pull attention away from Fortnite, and that could fund a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 could be that game. But like it's just one of those things where it's like just abandon this free to play pot of money that you're trying to make and just focus on what you're good at. Focus on what you're best at. And I really hope they turn it around because this generation of PlayStation has honestly just been very disappointing for me. Like as a
Yeah.
PlayStation lover,
Yeah.
I am just like, outside of a few first party games, it's been dry. All the games that I've been loving playing on my PlayStation, I could play anywhere else. And
Yeah.
it's just kinda crazy.
And that is what's so interesting now too is like you can play these first party PlayStation games on PC now. And it's
Mhm.
like, whoa, that's weird. Never been able to do that anymore. But like now you can. And you're like, oh,
Mhm.
so do I need the PlayStation? I mean, the controller's pretty cool. It's got those cool functionalities, but
Yeah.
like, do I fully need it? It's like, no, not really. And
I would
yeah.
not be shocked if in less than 3 years, day 1 PC release for all PlayStation first party
Oh,
games.
that would be interesting.
I would
That would
not be
be
surprised.
that'd be huge. That'd be a very big change.
Yeah, it would be a big change, but I think that if I were the heads of Sony and I'm seeing the success of sales that Microsoft is seeing on their first party games, and
Yeah.
like because they release it all across, join the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Exclusivity is not the way anymore. Like there's
Yeah,
just
doesn't
like
it seem like exclusivity is just kind of dead? I just
yeah,
it's like it's over
it is.
with.
It's just let's just cut the cord. Like like
Yeah.
like Death Stranding 2, release it day and day with PS5 and PC. Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not that big of a PC player. I like playing on a console, but I feel like anyone that loves playing on PC should play that game. Like let it be sold. Let these developers make their money. They worked hard for it. It's just like
Yeah. I
it's
wonder how many, let's see. So Horizon Zero Dawn sold 3.3 million on PC.
not
How
bad.
many did it do? The game was released in
Horizon doesn't
August.
I will say Horizon doesn't sell that well though, unfortunately. It's a
Oh,
shame
really?
because yeah, they're not huge sellers.
Hmm.
It's a shame because I think they're some of the most gorgeous games I've ever played in my entire life. Like they're just beautiful. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the
Oh,
engine
yeah,
is
you're right. It really
unbelievable.
doesn't have that many, does it? Never mind.
Mm-mm.
Kind of a hard thing to compare then.
Well, it's okay. Like I will say, I think we'll get one more Horizon game because the way that Horizon
Yeah.
Forbidden West ends, it sets it up for one more. And so it's
Mm.
like, so I would be happy if it ended with one more. I'm like, you know what? I got my trilogy. Like
Yeah.
I got the story. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
be
guess it's
upset.
just like I feel like I agree with you at this point, right? It's like, yeah, just release it on both because
Yeah,
what's the point in hindering the number of
people from
sales that you can make?
on the games.
Yeah, like if you can make, let's say you're always destined to sell 15 million, why do you want to make that take you 5 years when you can make it take you like 2 to 3 if you just put it on everything right away? Like there's no need to drag it out. Like let's just get that cash flow 2 years earlier and then use that to make something else.
Yeah, it's no longer a console war that we're living in. It's
Yeah.
it's different now. Like it's
Yeah,
like
I mean, most people own both. Like truly,
yeah,
most people just
true.
get both consoles. They'll pick one first and then in like a year or two they'll just get the second one. And like
Yeah.
that is kind of the world we live in nowadays where like you do obviously have like the diehards who will like put in like
Stand PlayStation only or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
they're probably like redditors who just like stay up all night and troll on the internet about how one's better than the other. But like the majority of people are gonna like probably have both, and they'll probably have
Yeah.
switches too, and like this and that. It's just kind of like I don't
It's
know.
all about convenience. It's all about let me play
Yeah,
my game wherever I want to play it.
yeah,
Let me play my game wherever I want to play it. Like
yeah.
it's just like that's what it's about. But I know we're almost at time. I know that we got through
Wrapping
all of our
up.
topics.
We did successfully
Um,
did it.
yeah. I was gonna ask you, if you don't mind me asking you, Tyler,
Yeah,
what are you playing right now? I know we haven't done this segment in a minute, but
yeah.
we kind of wanted to talk.
So playing through Red Dead, I think I'm like halfway through it. Red Dead 2. So I think about
I
like
love it.
halfway through that game.
I'm so
Um,
glad you're still in it. I
yeah, it's
cannot
really
wait to
fun.
hear about.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad. Do you feel like you finally found your groove
Yeah,
with
I
it?
just kind of like I really just like push story at this point. The
Yeah.
side quest is like pretty interesting, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep like pushing story, just kind of like getting to the end, or trying to
If
get to the end.
if you don't mind me asking, where in the story are you? Like what chapter?
So they're like, so all the craziness went on with like the like the two families that
Oh,
you were
with the
like,
plantation.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god. I
They're
love
like
that
they're
part.
wrapping up the plantation and they're about to get like kicked out of the area, and then they gotta
The
like move
girl
to
in
the
that
next
like
one.
outhouse
Yeah,
in the film, like what the heck is that? Like
yeah, yeah. So we got that going on. Um, yeah, it's been fun. It's been pretty funny. I did get to the part. It wasn't storyline, but it you know, like in that zone when you could be traveling around at night and you essentially see like the KKK just like chilling in the forest.
yes.
Did you come
Oh my
across
god.
that? Yeah,
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 I killed them
yeah.
all.
I took them all out. I
I took them
did.
all out, dude.
That was
I was
it.
like, absolutely not. I'm
I
not
saw what
allowing this.
that was, and I was just like, "You're gone." So
Dude,
that was
but for real, like,
interesting.
did they have the burning cross when you saw
Yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Terrifying.
I
I just
know.
remember seeing it. I just remember seeing that, and like my character Arthur was just like, "What the hell?" Like
Yeah,
it's
yep. And then when you like kill them all, he's just kind of like, "Yeah, you guys deserve this."
I love Arthur so.
So so I'm playing that one. That's my like my Xbox like console game.
Yeah.
And then right now friends and I are just playing we're playing some League, just kind of getting in on all that and um playing like Pokemon Pocket and playing some
Oh,
like RuneScape and stuff like that. So like the usual stuff, but I would say the main game that I'm playing is Red Dead, and then
nice.
the game that I will try afterwards is probably going to be the how do you say it? Claire Expedition 33
Yeah, Claire Obscure
Obscure.
Expedition 33.
I think that'll be
Yeah.
my next one. I was going to have it be Oblivion, but the only issue that I have with Oblivion is that it is still the same game. I was hoping a little bit more of quality of life was going to change, specifically around difficulty. Difficulty in the original Oblivion was like super borked because
Yeah.
like that's just like how the games were back then. They just like weren't. They didn't
You
like
mean you don't?
figure out the mathematics to actually do difficulty. It was just like the higher you do it, the less damage you do, and the more damage they do. And that was just difficulty back in the day.
You don't wanna just sneak behind someone's back for 20 minutes to raise your stealth
Yeah.
attribute all the way to max level?
Yeah, yeah. So there's this like I thought that was gonna be the next game that I was gonna play, but I've been actually thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Surprisingly enough, now I did play a couple hours of it. It's like looks amazing. It's honestly one of
Oh, yeah,
like
it's all in
the
Unreal 5,
greatest
right?
like remakes that I've seen or remasters that I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty wild how it's done. But I'm actually really excited for that studio who's making the Skyblivion, the modded version of like
Yes,
Oblivion and
I've heard
Skyrim.
about that.
I
Yeah.
like the idea of that one because I think they're gonna do a lot more like quality of life enhancements that are needed,
I
as
agree.
well as I think they've even like dove into like making new storyline and like I
Wow.
don't know. I think it'll be fun to see them actually like rebuild Oblivion,
Mhm.
whereas the people who did this remaster, the way it's programmed is that Oblivion sits in the background
And then
as
there's a
far as
fresh
the
building.
game, and there is the coat of paint that sits on top of it. That is the
Yep.
remaster, which is
Right.
cool. It's really awesome. It's really well
Yeah.
done, and like I hope they do it for Fallout 3 because I think that would make Fallout 3 be like really fun. But
That'd be insane.
yeah, I just don't have like a desire to play it. So Red Dead 2 right now, and when that finishes up, I will play Claire Obscure because a lot of people said it looks fun, and I also read that I can beat it in 30 hours or less, which I have determined is now my like maximum capacity to play video games. So I'm down
As
for a
you play
game.
Red Dead 2, which is
I
like a
know.
50-hour game
I know.
or
It takes me a while, so I was like, Claire seems like a
yeah.
fun, different enough to where I won't feel like I'm doing the same thing, but like hopefully not like super long to where I don't get like bored.
If we end up playing Clair Obscur at the same time, it would be awesome just to like kind of touch base on like what we think because
Yeah.
apparently the story is just amazing
I
in
know.
that game.
That is what I'm actually most intrigued of, which is funny because I don't normally love story, but like it seems weird and I love weird things. So I'm
I
kind
do
of
too.
excited. I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah,
It seems creepy weird and I'm so in on that. I'm just
me
like
too.
this sounds really cool. Like
Like
the
French
idea of
Tim Burton.
having
That.
the like lady of death who like paints the number in the sky or whatever she is or
Yeah,
something like I'm
the
like this
tree.
seems so weird. I'm so excited for it.
I know we're almost at time, but I did want to let you know what I'm playing right now.
Yo, yeah,
While
yeah,
I
go
wait,
for it. Yeah, you're good.
while I wait to buy Clair Obscur.
Yeah.
TCG Pocket has officially gotten me back into Pokemon, and
Yeah.
I'm actually not replaying, I'm playing for the first time, Fire Red. I am I'm
Hey,
starting on
nice.
I'm starting on Gen 1, and I'm about 10 hours in, and I
Hey,
think I'm back in officially into Pokemon,
nice. Fire
in the
Red's a good
game.
one.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, like, and I feel like it was a good place for me to start because I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna replay and go through the generations from the beginning, but play the revamped versions, like the
Yeah.
most up-to-date versions."
Yeah.
I'm currently trying to survive the rock tunnel. It is I forgot. I mean, it's kind of nostalgic, like playing it because it's like, oh my gosh, I remember a version of this
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was a kid playing Yellow and Blue,
Yeah.
and and it looks beautiful. The music is just as good as I remember it, but like,
Yeah.
um, rock tunnel is so hard.
You
Like
playing on your phone?
no, so I'm playing it on my 3DS,
Oh, cool. Nice.
and but it like I don't know. I chose Charmander because
Classic.
I yeah, because well, and I didn't know I did not remember this about Gen 1, but as I'm playing through, I'm like, wow, w- fire and water Pokemon are actually very rare in this game. Like it's mostly like ground and rock and
Yeah.
grass Pokemon.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I need a water Pokemon. I need an electric Pokemon. Where the heck are these Pokemon? I finally found a Pikachu in the Viridian Forest. It took me forever to get it, but
Yeah, that's why Lapras is such a huge like when you get a Lapras, that's like a big deal. 'Cause then
yeah.
you get like ice, you get the hydro pump. Yeah, Lapras is like
Yep.
pretty nice to get in Fire Red.
Well, and that was what I was gonna say. I feel like I finally hit my stride. I had to grind forever to get the second badge because like Starmie was just kicking my butt. Like
Oh yeah,
just
yeah. Misty Starmie is
completely
wild.
the speed on that Starmie is insane. Like it literally would like KO my Pokemon before I could do
Yeah.
anything to it.
Does it
Like
water
and
pulse and confuse? Do they have that in
yes.
Fire Red?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Okay, yeah.
All she would use was water pulse. And it was
Yeah.
crazy. But then finally, when I got to Lieutenant Surge, I found my stride, and I was like, okay, like I was able to beat him with relative ease. But like, my mains for the game right now are Charmeleon. I'm he's like all my Pokemon are around level 28, so he'll be a Charizard soon, I think. But yeah, Charmeleon, Nidoking, uh, Mankey, who will come into a Primeape. Um, Pikachu.
38.
The what?
Oh, I think Mankey becomes into a primate like in the 30s.
In the 30s? Oh.
I think so.
Yeah. Mankey, Pikachu. And then I've
Oh,
decided
28. Never mind.
20. Oh, I'm close then. Nice. But I decided when I get the Eevee, I'm gonna turn it into Vaporeon
Oh,
since
that's
I have
good. Good
Pikachu.
defense.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then for the last Pokemon, I think it's either going to be Lapras or Snorlax. But if I already have Vaporeon, there's not really a need for Lapras. So it's like
Now you're gonna use a
uh,
Thunderstone on the Eevee or on the Pikachu. You're gonna keep a
Pikachu.
Pikachu.
I'm gonna evolve it. Only
Good man.
because
Good man.
only because I'm a completionist. I'm not going to be able to complete these games.
Nah,
Like
bro.
I'm not
You
going to be
you
able
don't
to.
need to only because Raichu is better, so it's okay.
Yeah, but like I'm waiting until Pikachu learns Thunderbolt.
Smart.
But like yeah, what I'm doing is I'm catching every Pokemon I can and just evolving them like as like a sixth Pokemon when time allows because I do want to complete as much of the initial 151 that I can.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in doing the national Pokedex. I'm just like, I'm gonna get through to the Elite Four. I'm gonna get as much of the Pokemon in the region as I can, and then the ones I can't get without trades or anything like that, I'm not gonna worry about it. And then I'm just gonna move on to Heart Gold and Soul Silver, um, and do it all again. So,
And so
but I
Nidoking
am
was a Moonstone, right? So you used your Moonstone.
yeah. So I found 2 Moonstones in Mount Moon, and
Oh, that's pretty good.
I I I remember when I played Yellow and Blue, I always loved Nidoking because he was super tanky. Like
Yeah.
his defense was crazy. He had super strong offense, and he had a high HP pool. And so with Nidoking, I'm going to teach him Dig,
Oh,
um,
nice.
and then I'll give him Earthquake once I beat Giovanni. And he can learn like ice moves and different things like that. So I can make him kind of like a utility player, and I feel like Nidoking could be a really big win for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't realize he was poison, like poison ground, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
it is nice to like because like obviously like if you teach him ice moves, he won't do as much damage because he's not an ice type Pokemon.
right,
So there's that, but like yeah, giving him like earthquakes gonna be great because he has the ground, and so that'll like do
right.
really well. Yeah, Nidoking's a cool one. I never actually played with Nidoking before. It's a Pokemon that I always
Yeah,
thought looked cool, but I just never got him to fit into my
never
party.
got it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
always went Gengar for my poison. I always went Poison Ghost with Gengar.
it's so funny you mentioned it was a toss up for me because I kind of chose what I wanted to go for before I started the game so
Yeah, I
that I
did that
could like
too.
work towards
Yeah.
it. And it was between Nidoking and Gengar for me because I love
Oh,
Gengar.
fun.
And I was
Yeah.
like, but I got Nidoran like so early that I was just like, like I'll just go
Yeah.
for it. I may still change my mind. It could be that Gengar becomes like my alternate or something like that
Yeah.
I just like raise up. But it's awesome. I'm kind of like officially back into the Pokemon games,
Nice.
and I'm loving it. I kind of hope it allows me to go through and like play the Switch ones because I never really gave them a chance or anything like that. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
fun fact, Fire Red was the first time I ever encountered a random shiny. I encountered
Did you get shiny?
I encountered a Zubat in the
Oh
very
my
first
god!
dungeon, and it was green, and I thought it was sick, so I killed it.
No.
That was the first
Dude.
time I encountered a
Oh,
random encounter shiny, a full 1 in 8,000 odds, and I thought it was sick, so I killed it.
dude, that's so sad. And it obviously still haunts you. Well, I
Yep.
didn't realize you can get shinies in this game. That's
Yeah.
exciting. I'll
Yeah.
probably never find one, but
The
like,
odds are not in your favor. No,
yeah.
but maybe.
I will say I just got, and then we can finish up, but I just got Meowth, and I was super excited because Meowth's my favorite Pokemon. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if I could like use him as like my HM Pokemon. And I am, but like his stats are crap, dude.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Meowth
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so
yeah.
weak. I was like, dang, dude. You're not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, one fun thing to do with Pokemon too. I think I did this. Oh, I don't know which one it was. Maybe it was like X or Y, or I can't remember. But one fun thing is picking a theme for your party. So one time I did a full poison theme, but it was
Oh,
poison. It was like combos. So I would pick
yeah,
like a poison grass. I picked a
yeah.
poison like ghost. I picked a poison water. I tried to build out an entire
Ooh,
team that gave me a good variety, but they all had to be poison types. There's
yeah.
like a website out there that like helps you build teams. It was really fun to do that for a little while. Or
That's
I would
cool.
say like I can only play with a team with Pokemon that have blue as their primary color. Or I can only play with the
Oh, that's
first
fun.
like
That's
um
cool.
I can only play with Pokemon that are the first letter in my name or with the letters in my name. So it spells out
Like
Tyler. I would only
Tyler.
like play with one T, Y, one L. So there's like a lot of fun ways to like
Oh, that's
also do
fun.
with like Pokemon. So like when you mention how you like planned your team out ahead of time, I do that sometimes too. With just like if I replay something, I say, I'm gonna do this time around. And it just like makes it more like fun and like enjoyable
Yeah.
because the game's already kind of easy once you start snowballing. So it's like the
Y-
little things that make you kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just I think I just decided to play it at the right time because like I was just like I just
Yeah.
kind of want something to play to like grind,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
like mindless, like
Yeah.
kind of mindless grinding while like I watch a show or something, and it's been so enjoyable,
That's
and
cool.
I'm just like I'm loving it.
I'm
It's
so
it's
happy
really
for you. That's so exciting.
yeah, man. I'll keep you posted on if I beat the Elite Four. We'll see. I'm worried this game's gonna kick my butt in many places. We'll
Man,
see.
I'm stoked too because then the
But
next one's gonna be Heart Gold. And
yeah,
man, that game just oh, it looks so good. Like, I just think you're
really.
gonna be blown away when you play it.
Oh, I can't wait because Gold and Silver. I had Silver growing up. Silver was my favorite Pokemon game,
Yeah, I
and
think you are gonna
hearing,
be blown away
yeah,
when you play Heart Gold for the first time.
I think I am too because I've heard it's the best Pokemon game.
Oh, it's
It, like
freaking good.
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait to fight that rival with the crazy red mane of hair.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah, I named
uh,
him Butt Fart in my first playthrough ever.
like, he is a butt. He's the worst rival in the whole series, dude.
It's so
Legit
aggravating.
he's a legit villain. He's just
Yeah.
like, dude, you're just like going around graffitiing houses. Like you're like the worst human being I've ever met. Like, oh my
Oh
god.
man. All right. Well, is that all you're playing? Just Fire Red right now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Word.
It's just
Nice.
because I
Nice.
have no mind to buy games anymore right now.
Awesome.
It's like,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here, folks. Yeah, it was a good one. A lot of stuff going on in the gaming industry. Hopefully, our next podcast is gonna be a little more happy news. We'll see. Um, oh yeah, I guess quickly to mention, Peter is not here. He just got back from a pretty long trip overseas, so that is actually why it's just Max and I. I tell this to our audience an hour and 33 minutes in, but if you were wondering where Peter was, that is he is just
For the
catching up on
deep
some
cut
sleep that he
people,
needs.
it really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully next podcast will be a little bit more happier in the gaming space. Um, it is an interesting state that we're in right now. There is some good for sure, but Max and I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to talk about kind of some negatives that were going on because you gotta be real with yourself sometimes, and sometimes your hobbies and the areas that you're in are just not in a good state. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Make sure to give us a review on Spotify. I'm pretty sure that helps, and like following the podcast and all that kind of stuff. You should notice that our logo now is spelled correctly. So that was a fun thing that happened. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.